Good morning. I'm here in the greenhouse today. It's early April and we want to replant some things. So what we have here, I had a nice bed of lettuce in here and I let a lot of the weeds grow so that I could have multiple plant families in here. So it looks kind of like a jungle. And sometimes this is where people get overwhelmed because it looks like, oh my goodness, it all went bad and it was horrible and terrible and there's still good lettuce in here. I don't know what to do. I don't want to waste it. If you have your farm set up so that you are utilizing everything for each process of your farm, then you won't feel like it's a waste. If you have a worm bin, you need to feed your worms. And so we're going to harvest what's left here, the lettuce that's left, and we're going to take it and put it on the worm bin, and it will begin to rot down, and the worms will eat it, and they'll thrive, and that'll be a good thing. Don't ever feel bad about putting leftover and waste produce on your worm bed or in a different type of a composting system. That's okay. So this is pretty thick and it looks like a jungle. But all the really good heads of lettuce are already gone out of here. So I try to grow a little bit more than what I know I'm going to use, and that way I'd never have a famine. So I've had 8 different customers who have been coming the last few months. And every time they come, they take 2 or 3 heads of romaine. And this is just a 3-foot wide bed that's only 10 feet long right here. And so this has we have harvested probably 35 really nice heads of romaine out of here. And at this point, there are no more good heads left, but there is some in here. I'm just going to show you real briefly. So here's one, but see how it's getting really long right here? It's getting long and leggy. If you taste this, it's going to start tasting bitter because it's old. I'm just going to taste the inside leaf, that newest growth. It's pretty good. It is starting to go a little bit bitter, but it's not bad, but it certainly is not good enough quality to send out to a consumer. So what we're going to do is we're just going to come in here and I'm going to cut off all the plants, and I just want to cut them off close to the ground so we can clear this out. This is sometimes where new gardeners can get overwhelmed because they think, oh my goodness, what do I do? You clear it out and you replant. So today I want to clear out this entire area. It'll probably fill that 20-gallon tub up 2 times. And then I can put that in the compost. If when I'm ready to replant, there's nothing to take away to put on the compost, I feel like I didn't quite manage it right. I want to be able to make, you know, $40 or $50 off of a little patch like this selling produce. And then I want to have been able to eat from this place at least 3 times a week. And when I'm done, I want 2 or 3 big tubs of greenery to go away. That's why I let some of the weeds grow. So here's a weed right here. So I just pulled that one up. Typical early succession weed with a root system that's not that great, but it does have that taproot system, which is good, that goes down in the ground. And then on top there's a lot of foliage up here, and at the very crown it's just still putting out leaves. So that's wonderful. I never want a weed to go to seed. And this one is not at that stage at all. So here's another weed over here. I'm just going to pull this one up and we'll look at it. So different type of weed growing in here. It looks like it was growing there and then it got knocked down, and so this part of it is sprouting roots where it hit the ground. Now this one is flowering. It has beautiful little purple flowers on it. So it is in the flowering seed making stage, but none of the flowers have matured yet. And if they would have, I would want to be very careful not to let the weeds or the seeds hit the ground. But this is probably 4 to 8 weeks away from making viable seed. So the perfect time to take it out. Now, did these weeds hurt my yield in my romaine? No, they didn't. I got a lot of beautiful romaine out of here. Here's another weed, another species of weed right here. Again, very small root system, typical of early succession weeds. And this is an edible weed here. The other 2 probably were too, but I don't really know. These ones can be eaten. You can actually buy these in seed catalogs for human consumption, like to grow as a vegetable. But But there's that one. And then there's a curly dock here. This is another weed, and it grows with a huge taproot way down in the ground. I will not be able to pull that up. I did pull on it and it was really tight like I suspected. They have a very large taproot, so I just cut that one off, but it has these big, long, giant leaves. So this is the curly dock. So that's another type of weed, but see, we're getting a lot of different plant families in here, which is extremely good for the overall health of the soil. So that's my 4th species of weed, and I think those are all different plant families too, which is pretty great. And here's another species of weed. This one broke off right at the ground, but this is what we call a wild lettuce. I don't even know the botanical name of some of these, the real names. But here we go, and so this is probably the same plant family as the romaine, but it still has some diversity. The interesting thing, right here, this weed, it has a lot of aphids on it, so that's interesting, where my romaine did not. Let me pull up a romaine here. I just cut this old romaine off. Let me look at it. Yeah, there's a few aphids on this romaine. So that's an interesting thing about romaine. If we pulled this back, there's that beautiful romaine heart in here. It's not super tight. It looks really healthy though, and there's no aphids on these inside leaves at all, which means it probably has a high Brix reading. Very sweet, good lettuce flavor. I'm waiting for the bitterness to hit me sideways, and it's not doing it. Okay, good. So in times of famine, we would certainly try to find some hungry people to feed this to, but for right now, where I'm building soil, I want as much greenery as I can get to put in that worm bin to create more soil. Hopefully this helps you to have a simpler garden. I understand why my garden looks like a jungle half the time.